They were somewhat in tune with the seasonal cycle. Such matters will undergo transformation. As a group, we back the monarchy. Slight variations are possible. The answer is unclear. The succession of events has brought Prince William to the English throne, and Princess Anne has revealed King Charles' dying desire. The burden of leadership falls on William. But why would Charles, King of England, tell his sister this secret? Is William's future as king going to be affected by this? A father's final wish invites you to discover the answer. As soon as Princess Anne entered the grand room, clutching a sealed letter, the air turned eerily still. Everyone turned to stare at her in the serene and tranquil silence that had replaced any music or announcements. There was a weight in the air, as if a monumental event were about to transpire. A word from Princess Anne was unnecessary. This was a pivotal moment, as evidenced by her grave expression and the letter she had in her hand. Missing no time at all, she marched briskly towards the room's center. With expressions of concern and grief on their faces, the royal family rushed to her side. Keep this letter out of the hands of the general public. No one outside of that room, including the news, the cameras, or anyone else, took notice. It was a final parting letter that King Charles trusted to the one person he knew would handle it with care. It was meant solely for those closest to him. Gola Stidden. With her characteristic poise and strength, Princess Anne delicately cracked apart the seal. The paper ripping seemed more audible than normal in the otherwise peaceful room. As they anxiously awaited the letter's contents, everyone held their breath. Apologies, but no one spoke. Everyone there knew that this was the final word from their beloved father, leader, and guide, someone they loved very dearly. As she started reading, Anne's voice remained steady. She began with very moving yet straightforward words expressing His Majesty's deepest yearning. It seemed as though time had frozen at that very second, though the letter did not contain many melancholy farewells. The message was devoid of remorse. The atmosphere was one of generosity and friendliness. King Charles continued to consider his loved ones and his nation even in his dying hours. Many were under the impression that the letter contained heartfelt remarks or fond memories for each family member. However, King Charles had alternative plans. He was not considering his own interests. His thoughts turned to the future of his family. He had one last, straightforward desire. He hoped his loved ones would remain together, resilient and supportive of Prince William. Prince William had discreetly begun to assume additional duties during the months when King Charles was fighting cancer. But he became the public face of the family at times of crisis, took crucial choices, and made appearances at major occasions. People started to see him as the future head of the family, even though he hadn't officially become king yet. The significance of this event became even more apparent as Princess Anne read the letter. Not only was the letter a farewell, but it was also a subtle directive. Keeping the royal family steady and standing by William's side, King Charles urged his family members. Specifically, he begged them to shield William from ever having to confront adversity on his own. A few members of the household had a watering of the eyes. The message resonated deeply with them. It had nothing to do with money or power. Love, obligation, and the sacredness of something precious were at the heart of everything. The monarch pleaded with them to maintain harmony inside the household, to show kindness to one another and resilience in the face of adversity. The chamber fell into a dead silence as Princess Anne concluded her reading. Nobody clapped or made a huge deal out of it, but everyone there felt the exact same way. They exchanged a subtle vow. A sense of unity pervaded the mourning, as if they had all secretly consented to carry out the king's desire. Princess Anne was the one who read the wish, but why was that so? Who needs a prince when you have a lawmaker or even Camilla? We'll have to see. Princess Anne's unwavering resilience. There has never been a time when Princess Anne was not an integral member of the royal family. She has a reputation for being a devoted and strong woman who works hard. She was reliable and meticulous. Therefore, King Charles frequently entrusted her with critical tasks. Keeping her head down and doing her job, Anne watched as others sought attention. Resilience and consistent service are the themes of her story, not fame. Fame. Even after all these years, Princess Anne was still one of the most active royals. Her attendance at around 500 official events annually in the 1970s contributed to her fame. Despite criticism of the royal family's advantages, Anne was respected for her unwavering devotion. Encouraging the monarchy to maintain connections with the people of the UK and Commonwealth, she collaborated closely with Queen Elizabeth II. She started working hard at a young age. Anne went on a royal trip of New Zealand and Australia with Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip when she was 19 years old. She began her official royal existence on this journey. She was no longer simply the daughter of the Queen. She gained the self-assurance to confidently greet people and attend events as a full royal. In the same year, she embarked on a journey of selfless service that she would treasure for the rest of her life. From 1970 to 2017, she served as president of Save the Children UK. Over the course of nearly half a century, Anne was a compassionate advocate for underprivileged children. These actions contributed to the public's perception of the royal family as caring and active. As her brothers were quick to draw attention to themselves with anecdotes, Princess Anne remained unassumingly committed to her responsibilities. She stuck to what was important and stayed out of scandals. Following Queen Elizabeth's death in 2022, Anne immediately swore allegiance to King Charles, mirroring her devotion to their mother. Anne was bestowed the illustrious title of Gold Stick in Waiting, a position of unparalleled protection for King Charles after his coronation in May 2023. She rode into battle atop 6,000 soldiers, a testament to her role in royal tradition and her brother's faith in her. As an unusual honor bestowed upon the monarch's spouse and the following four adult heirs traditionally, Anne was also made a Counselor of State in November 2022 by Parliament. This role was bestowed upon her as a result of her lifetime of exceptional service. It allowed her to represent the monarch in key meetings and sign official documents when he couldn't be reached. While other members of the royal family withdrew or were ill, Anne continued to steady the ship and keep the monarchy running properly. She regained her position as the most active member of the royal family in 2024. From January to April, she attended 172 official engagements, accounting for 31% of all royal appearances. While King Charles attended to his health, Princess Catherine stepped out of the limelight, and the royal couple began visiting areas that had not hosted a royal visitor for quite some time. It wasn't just the UK that her efforts touched. She paid a visit to Sri Lanka in February 2024 to commemorate the country's 75th year of independence. Anne met with leaders and attended ceremonies, while King Charles remained at home for health reasons. William began his education on the rigors of royal life at an early age. William, though, did not always have it easy. He was born into a broken home in 1996. Then, a horrible catastrophe occurred only a year after that. The princess's life came to an end on August 31, 1997, in a car crash in Paris. In Paris, young William was just 15 years old. Guests at Balmoral Castle in Scotland included Prince Harry, Prince Charles, and their father. The tragic news had to be broken to Prince Charles's sons the following day. Princess Diana's funeral was broadcast live on September 6 to an international audience. Witnesses beheld the two youthful princes escorting their grandmother, Prince Philip, and Uncle Charles Spencer as they walked behind the casket of their mother. There was a devastating instant. Despite their best efforts, William and Harry's anguish was plain to observe. A lot of people all over the globe kept that recollection. This event changed William's life forever. After his mother passed away, he had to mature quickly. Following Diana's passing, William persisted in his studies at the illustrious Eton College, a prominent English institution. His family normally did things differently. Gordonstown School in Scotland was attended by both his grandfather and father. William majored in art history, biology, and geography while at Eton. He was also quite good at water polo and rowing. Everyone was watching him, even though he pretended to be a normal adolescent. William opted to take a year off after graduating from Eton. He's seen the world and picked up a wealth of knowledge on his travels. He went on a military boot camp, volunteered in Chile, and traveled to Africa. For this time, a way enlightened him to the realities of life and the struggles that individuals endure. William opted to study geography when he enrolled in the University of St. Andrews in Scotland in 2001. He got a taste of what it was like to be a typical college student by sharing quarters with other people. There he met Kate, whose real name was Catherine Middleton. They were simply friends at first, but that quickly blossomed into love. They tied the knot after some time had passed, and Kate was crowned Princess of Wales. William joined the military after finishing university, as was his royal family's custom. He began his studies at Sandhurst, the Royal Military Academy, in 2006. A member of the Household Cavalry, he rose through the ranks to the rank of second lieutenant in the Blues and Royals. Subsequently, he enrolled in a program to become a search and rescue helicopter pilot with the Royal Air Force. William was a licensed pilot by 2008. William served his military service in Wales at Raff Valley in Anglesey from 2009 to 2013. With Sea King helicopters, he participated in more than 150 rescue missions as a co-pilot. Numerous lives were spared as a result of these procedures. I revealed to William the hardships that everyday individuals endure. He learned the importance of duty and responsibility in his life and in his role as a prince from this incident. The king's responsibilities began to grow, and William began to shoulder more of them. He was appointed Counselor of State at the tender age of 21, enabling him to carry out official responsibilities in the absence of the Queen. In 2005, he made an unforgettable journey to New Zealand to pay tribute to veterans of World War II, one of his formal royal visits. The people of nations like Canada, Australia, and New Zealand that William visited as part of his royal duties welcomed him with open arms. He was well liked everywhere he went because of his generosity and sincere curiosity about others. William exhibited courage, compassion, and composure during trying moments such as national emergencies or natural catastrophes. He gracefully represented the royal family and provided solace to the downtrodden. William kept up his royal obligations even as he served in the military. On a rescue mission close to Liverpool in 2010, he was a co-pilot. In the Irish Sea, he undertook yet another perilous expedition, this time rescuing crew members from a cargo ship that was going down. He conducted rescue operations in the Falkland Islands for 6 weeks in 2012. Although William's active military service ended in 2013, he maintained strong ties to the military. His frequent attendance at military events and memorial ceremonies demonstrated his support for the Battle of Britain Memorial Flight, in contrast to Prince Harry, who resigned from his royal obligations in 2020. Prince William opted to remain and carry them out. He and Catherine both helped out more around the house as the Queen got older. Working in tandem, they prioritized environmental protection, children's rights, and mental health education. Their kind nature and stable leadership were lauded by the people. Patience, responsibility, and kindness have molded William's life throughout the years. He took his time learning the ropes, serving his subjects, and gradually assuming the throne. A kind, thoughtful, and trustworthy future king, he has been shaped by his life's experiences, which have included personal tragedy, military rescues, and royal responsibilities. As likely as Prince William is to become king in the future, he will always have an ally who treats royal tasks with the same casual enthusiasm and not an obligation. To what extent has the monarchy acknowledged Kate? Assist us. Prince William has been a busy royal since Kate entered his life, attending events and shouldering great expectations. His destiny as king was predetermined from the moment of his birth. There have been many ups and downs in his life, but a magnificent transformation occurred when a young woman named Catherine Middleton, whom he affectionately calls Kate, entered it. When William was maturing and discovering who he was, Kate showed up at a crucial juncture. While both were undergraduates at Scotland's University of St. Andrews, they crossed paths. What began as a casual connection blossomed into something more meaningful over time. They were a funny, supportive, and carefree bunch who relished in life's simple pleasures. Even though everyone was watching, their romance developed in private. William finally asked Kate to be his wife after a lengthy, arduous courting. That was the moment that everyone had been waiting for, and it was just stunning. They tied the knot at London's Grand Westminster Abbey on April 29, 2011. Their vows were broadcast live to viewers all across the globe. It was more than a royal wedding, though. A new chapter has begun. The burden of royal life was no longer solely on William. Gracefully assuming her role, Kate was prepared to live in the public glare and take on responsibilities. They united to infuse the royal family with a new, welcoming energy, kindly welcomed her new life after getting married. She attended events with William donated to charity and made friends with individuals from many walks of life. Her ability to make every individual she met feel valued was her unique selling point. She was attentive, friendly, and genuine in her interactions with people. They decided to establish a wedding gift fund as one of their initial major life decisions. They requested that, instead of gifts, people contribute to organizations that were important to them, such as those that supported children, the elderly, military families, animals, and those dealing with health issues. It demonstrated their strong desire to utilize their position for the benefit of others. Throughout the years, Kate's volunteer activity expanded. The arts, mental health, and the welfare of children were among her favorite causes. What she wore or supported always garnered attention, so people started calling it the Kate effect. While bringing attention to crucial matters, crafts were Kate's medium of expression because of her passion for art history. She helped fund art therapy for kids programs and was active in art clubs. A large portion of her regal life was devoted to her passion for photography. Kate frequently had official portraits taken of her children, recording precious moments in their developing lives. William and Kate were an amazing couple. They were always welcoming and friendly to one another on their royal travels in the early years of their marriage. Their modesty and friendliness won over people everywhere they went, from New Zealand to meetings with world leaders. One of their first major excursions together was to Canada, which they took not long after being married. They drew massive audiences. The public adored Kate because of her inherent charisma and William because of his kind nature, which made many think of Princess Diana. Over time, Kate began to go to events independently as well. A benefit for In-Kind Direct was her debut solo performance. Afterwards, she showed her compassion for the children and their families she met at a children's hospice, where she delivered her inaugural public speech. Royal duties weren't the only thing they did, though. Warm and welcoming house was constructed for their expanding family. Everyone was delighted for the couple and for the world at large when Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis were born. She raised her children in a modest, considerate manner while juggling her royal duties. And for that, Kate was lauded as a kind, involved mother. With her growing support for topics related to children's welfare, mental health, sports, and photography, Kate's work flourished. Additionally, she had no problem broaching taboo topics. She spearheaded mental health programs and initiatives, including taking action on addiction, which empowered individuals to talk freely about their challenges. It was all about hearing people out, getting to know their stories, and then raising her voice to highlight the things that really matter. William and Kate continued working even after the 2020 epidemic hit, developing innovative approaches to communicating with individuals. They traveled by rail throughout Scotland, Wales, and England for 3 days to express their gratitude to healthcare staff. Despite some criticism, the trip demonstrated their profound gratitude. William and Kate's relationship has only strengthened with the passing of time. They remained a union through thick and thin, through public scorn and familial strife. Peace and pleasure were introduced into William's life by Kate. They reworked the royal responsibilities as a pair, combining time-honored customs with a warm, welcoming approach to interacting with others. Unwavering support for the future of the royal family. Everyone in the country, including Prince William and Catherine, was overjoyed in 2013 when Prince George was born. Careful consideration and kindness went into each revelation, giving the public brief but priceless views into the royal children's lives without compromising their privacy. William and Catherine opted to bring their children up in an environment free from the prying eyes of the media. They settled on a life that combined traditional values with more contemporary conveniences after spending time on the tranquil island of Anglesey. Eventually, they relocated to Norfolk. Far from the hustle and bustle of London, they hoped their children may have a peaceful and loving upbringing. However, they were also cognizant of the significance of broadcasting private joy to the world. Birthdays and Christmas photo releases gave the public a glimpse into their lives, where royal titles were just one part of a daily routine that also included reading bedtime stories and going for walks in the park. William and Catherine were very mindful of their royal responsibilities as they built a joyful family life. Their first official royal tour of Canada was shortly after their 2011 wedding. Everyone they met was captivated by their warm and welcoming demeanor. With joy and fun, they participated in activities such as tree planting and street hockey, revealing a more humble aspect of the royal family that resonated with the public. Afterwards, they went to California, where Catherine had her first official visit to the USA. The pair joined in the festivities honoring Queen Elizabeth II Diamond Jubilee in 2012 by traveling across Asia and the Pacific. The Solomon Islands, Singapore, Malaysia, and Tuvalu were among the destinations they explored. The trip was a huge success and helped strengthen the royal family's ties within the Commonwealth. Catherine made her first overseas speech during the trip at a children's hospice in Malaysia, demonstrating how caring and thoughtful she truly is. They had an amazing journey to New Zealand and Australia in 2014, and they brought tiny Prince George along for the ride. The tiny prince stole the show at a children's event when he played with toys and won the hearts of everybody who witnessed his first official visit. Media outlets in the host nation hailed the royal visit as one of the most memorable, since it included both serious business and entertaining activities. The longer time passed, the more immersed in royal duties Catherine got. She was a regular sight at galas, state ceremonies, and other major gatherings. Her genuine warmth and friendliness were just the beginning of the reasons why people adored her. She maintained an approachability befitting her title as Duchess of Cambridge because to her modest upbringing. Queen Elizabeth II's death in 2022 meant that Catherine could finally lay claim to the title Princess of Wales, which Diana had previously held. Many were impressed by her poise and beauty in her new role. As a symbol of unwavering courage and profound generosity, she frequently stood by Prince William's side during momentous occasions. Early childhood development, mental health awareness, and family support were her most important issues, and she remained dedicated to them. A powerful, united picture was created by William and Catherine. They launched the Heads Together initiative in 2016 alongside Prince Harry to combat the stigma and discrimination associated with mental health issues. William shared his personal struggles with grief and stress, such as the loss of his mother and his job as an air ambulance pilot. It was unusual for a monarch to be so approachable, and it was greatly appreciated by people of all backgrounds. After much thought, William established the Earthshot Prize in 2020 to address global concerns. The goal of this prize is to identify and fund innovative strategies for environmental protection. £1 million is awarded annually to 5 projects that combat climate change and aid in environmental healing. The Earthshot Prize is frequently likened to the Nobel Prize due to the global participation of its experts. It demonstrated William's ambitions beyond those of a future monarch. He aspired to have an impact on the world. Everyone learned to trust William because of his steady, composed leadership style, with 74% of the population seeing him favorably in a March 2023 poll. He surpassed King Charles as the most beloved royal. He was well liked for his level head, diligence, and lack of interest in pointless drama. He was beloved and admired for his candor, generosity, and commitment to worthy causes. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle were in the news in 2021 after an interview in which they addressed racism and other issues within the royal family made headlines. William cautiously denied the accusations in a brief response, being careful not to pour gasoline to the fire. People thought he handled the situation with elegance and wisdom, demonstrating his poise and composure under pressure. William assumed additional duties in early 2023 as concerns over King Charles' health increased. He started to make more appearances in public, presented awards, and accompanied the royal family on foreign excursions. In February, while the king was in the hospital for a small illness, William took charge of royal duties, charitable events, and crucial meetings. His readiness for more significant roles was evident. Charitable giving was another way William carried on his mother's heritage. He spent a night sleeping on the streets to empathize with the homeless and volunteered with Centerpoint, an organization dear to Diana's heart. These deeds were heartfelt tributes to his mother's enduring impact. The current age of social media also discovered a method to balance William and Catherine: They used Instagram to show off their personal lives, exchange images, and provide glimpses into their volunteer efforts. While honoring royal traditions, these modifications felt real and welcoming. They were able to engage with younger generations through this new medium without compromising the honor of their royal positions. A new style of royal leadership has been delicately crafted by William. He took his time, unlike his predecessors, to bring the monarchy into the contemporary day. Numerous her planned events were postponed or canceled as a result of this. It was difficult for her to resume her usual royal duties after recovering from the sickness, which left her extremely exhausted for months. In December 2024, Queen Camilla was scheduled to attend numerous dinners and meetings during the Emir of Qatar's visit. However, her doctors urged her to take it easy. The cancellation of most of her engagements only served to heighten public concern about the royal family's future, given that King Charles was keeping a low profile. Along with their Italian tour, King Charles and Queen Camilla visited the Vatican in April 2025. People were surprised by this visit because it had not been prearranged. Pope Francis, who was likewise battling pneumonia, was also visited by them. On this particular day, they celebrated 20 years of marriage. The Pope tragically died 12 days after their meeting. During this rare and emotional meeting, many people subtly observed that the King and the Pope were both battling with their health. So, people began to subtly question if King Charles and Queen Camilla could continue carrying out their royal duties as they both had health issues. Historians and specialists in royal family affairs started discussing the prospect of Prince William becoming king earlier than anticipated, despite the fact that the palace never formally announced the monarch's resignation. Around this period, Prince William began to assume a greater role in royal affairs. He became more visible in 2024 and 2025 compared to previous years. He stood by his father through thick and thin, met with powerful people, and represented the royal family at formal events. As Prince William's profile rose, people took note. Some took this as a sign that the royal family was being ready for anything that could happen next. Although King Charles's abdication was not officially announced, it was obvious that Prince William was being entrusted with more responsibility. He remained composed and kind even when faced with challenges. People looked up to him more because he willingly took on extra job without seeking praise. Future plans started circulating as a result of Prince William's increased responsibilities in King Charles and Queen Camilla's relative retreat. Royal observers speculated that King Charles may contemplate abdicating the throne to his son if his health failed to improve. Upon the abdication of a king, giving up the throne has always been a rare and serious thing in the long and beautiful history of kings and queens. It's rare, but when it does occur, it has a lasting impression on people's lives and in history books. The year 1936 was a watershed year in British history. Edward VIII abdicated so he could wed Wallis Simpson, a divorced American lady, the love of his life. The entire nation was taken aback by that moment. As a result of the public's outrage, the administration had to figure out how to respond rapidly. As they observed King Charles III's own trials, some people now silently recall the narrative of King Edward VIII's despite the fact that his downfall was the result of love and individual decisions. Even though his circumstances are completely different, the idea of a king abdicating nevertheless makes people question whether or not the past might repeat itself. Various kings have also abdicated in other regions of the globe. John II Casimir Wasa of Poland, for instance, abdicated in 1668 following a protracted illness and political turmoil. He was no longer able to handle the workload. Hence, he chose to withdraw, a difficult decision. Juan Carlos, King of Spain, did something comparable in 2014. He gave the throne to his son because he thought the next generation should take it. Now that people are starting to question if anything similar might happen in the UK, these tales are being spoken again. No indication has been made by Buckingham Palace that King Charles is considering a resignation at this time. Officials in the palace have repeatedly stated that he is still completely devoted to his role as king. King Charles continues to go about his daily duties as usual, reading official documents, conducting private meetings, and discreetly attending to the affairs of the realm, all while undergoing cancer treatment. The king, according to those close to him, considers it his sacred duty to be king forever. Their best guess is that he will remain on the throne until his health deteriorates significantly. A large portion of the British public holds King Charles in the highest esteem. The fact that he is continuing to perform admirably despite his health crisis is an inspiration to them. The king even went on a brief visit to Canada earlier in 2025. Despite the short duration of the visit, just 20 hours, it demonstrated his continued enthusiasm for his job. His short visit was nonetheless interpreted by many as a manifestation of his bravery, resolve, and might. But we all know that coping with illness at his age is no laughing matter, and that the future is anyone's guess. Prince William would take over for King Charles if the king were to become unable to do his job. It is widely believed that Prince William is allegedly already making discreet preparations for that scenario. He has been increasingly involved with public affairs for the previous 2 years. At numerous momentous occasions, he has proudly represented the monarchy, met with foreign leaders, and attended key events. People think he is prepared for anything because of how he handles these responsibilities with composure and stability. There is currently no schedule or official intention for the transfer of the crown. There is a well-defined legal line of succession, and it would be difficult for King Charles to abdicate at any point. Parliamentary approval and the passage of new laws would be necessary, similar to what is done in Canada, Australia, and New Zealand. It required swift and cautious legislative adjustments to enable King Edward VIII abdication in 1936. The same level of cooperation and planning would be required if an event of this nature were to occur today. This lends the impression that the royal family is taking precautions behind the scenes to be ready for anything. In preparation for their future duties, Prince William and Princess Catherine have increased their public engagement, met with influential people, and taken on new responsibilities. Despite the possibility of sudden upheaval, the royal family seems to have a meticulous strategy to maintain stability. Since King Charles' diagnosis, the media has monitored his health with meticulous attention. Despite repeated denials by Buckingham Palace, rumors persist in the media that he may step down soon. According to them, the king is intent on carrying out his responsibilities and has no intention of abdicating his position. Even the press and the public have been asked in official palace statements not to speculate about his health. The royal household keeps moving ahead despite all the rumors and speculation. Things may be moving more slowly than usual, but the king's staff is working diligently to ensure everything goes off without a hitch. No matter what happens, the royal family remains resolute and unwavering. While the monarch and queen work hard to take care of their health, Prince William is always there to lend a hand. There has been no halt to any activity within the monarchy. Maintaining royal responsibilities is a top priority, and the royal system is functioning normally. Even though there has been no formal announcement that the monarch will abdicate, his closest advisors are undoubtedly getting themselves ready for anything that may come their way. Do you have any opinions? Who will rule under Prince William? Feel free to leave a comment with your opinions, and remember to hit the like, share, and subscribe button. Please watch the video that is currently playing on your screen before you leave.